All right, today we're gonna talk about a song I absolutely love, and it's the Empress of Organos by Goose. And I'm very deliberately wearing a fish shirt because I love fish, love Goose. There's a lot of internet competition among the fans of these bands, and I just want to remind you, music is not a competition. More good bands and more music is great for us all. So like what you like, and leave it at that. This song is awesome. And what I'm going to do, same thing I do for other videos, which is we're going to talk through the sections of the song. I'll tell you how I would play it. I couldn't find any tablature or chord sheets for this, so I have figured it out by ear. I don't think it's 100% perfect, but it's pretty close. And so it should be at least a helpful kind of baseline for you if you're figuring out this song, or if you just want to learn how to play it the same way I do. You can use this as your starting point. So let's get right into it. And it starts with this little intro. And that, there's chords on top of it. I couldn't quite parse them out by ear. So what I'm playing there is just G, F, F, E, E flat, and F, down to D, and then you come up to the F. And this is like a G major riff thing. And the trick to getting this to sound right is that the bass line is going G, E, F, E. So it's using the sixth instead of like where I would probably instinctively use the 5, the D there. This uses the E, so you're going to replicate the bass part. And on top of that, you're doing this very classic G major chord, G, B, D, and it rolls up to G, C, E, and it rolls up one more time to G, D, F. And you can roll up from the B flat to the B on the G to give it that kind of bluesy sound. And that's like the backbone of the beginning of the song. And there's a bunch of riffing on the beginning of that. Peter's using this G major scale. What I like to think about when you're in a major scale soloing situation like this, a lot of us fall into this blues scale pattern, using like a G minor. And that really doesn't sound right in this situation. I mean, it's okay, but it doesn't really give you that particular flavor you're looking for, sort of that major flavor. So what I usually do, and I don't know if this is like technically the correct way to think about this, but this is how I think about this, is I take that G major and I use the relative minors blues scale, which would be a third down from G takes you to E, and I use this E blues scale, E, G, A, B flat, B, D, E, and you can use that over this G major and it sounds just fantastic. And you can use the G major scale too. If you just use it straight up, it's a little cheesy sounding, which is why that sort of E minor flair works really well. It gives you these rolling notes too, so you can do the A, B flat, B, D. So you can also roll up D, E flat, E, G. And those are just kind of classic moves for this kind of stuff. So it does that for a while. The singing part comes in, and there's a couple of little tricks through the verses here. So there's the line that's, skies would open up, we'd stop to fill our cups with harmony. And that's just a C, so you just land on a C chord there. And then right back to the same riff. And then the other one is, I told myself one day I felt so far away from home. Oh, wait. And that's where it shifts. So that is under home. Felt so far away from home. That's B flat up to C. And then you're doing this run sort of down this G minor type scale with the flat 7. So you're going D, C, B flat, A, G, F, E, D. And now you're going to be in G minor. And you're going back and forth between this G minor and C minor. So there's G minor. I use a G minor 7, so it's F, G, B flat, D. I'm playing the G with my left hand, and then F, B flat, D with my right hand, and then the C major, which is also flat 7. So I'm playing C with my left hand, and then G, B, E flat. And then there's, hang on, I gotta get to my notes here, because there's a couple sections to this song, and it takes some notes to get through it all. So there's another verse in there, dancing in the street, the Empress stomped her feet, she said, whoa, oh. So under the whoa, you're going C minor up to D major. And then there's this nifty little guitar riff, and the pattern under it changes slightly, so. And you don't have to play the guitar riff on piano, I'm just illustrating. So that, underneath that, the piano is going G minor, C minor, down to D major. So it's G minor, C minor, G minor, D major. And there's a guitar riff on top of that. I'm the Empress of Organos. It's the same thing. I'll show you where your bad thoughts go. And then under this, you're doing this E flat. It's an E flat major chord. So E, G flat, B flat. Got the seeds to make them grow. And you go down to D major, D, F sharp, A. Lock them up deep down below. And then you're going chromatically by half steps down from G to G to roll into the next part. And it's back to that C. So G minor, C minor, G minor, D major. For another line, you think you got the golden key. Darkness playing tricks with me. And it's our old friend again, that E flat. I'll twist and turn the path you chose. Down to D major, shadow of Los Organos. And then you're going back to this G minor, C minor, D major pattern, but you're trying to make it more chaotic. So I'm going to add some sort of stray notes while I'm doing that. Kind of go up by octaves and hold the sustain pedal to make it kind of messy sounding. And then it goes, let me make sure I get this right. E flat, same as before, down to D major. And then it leads into the next part by going G minor, F major, and then E flat. And you let this hang, waiting for that guitar to come in. And we're going to play the guitar part on piano because I love this part. I think it's so cool. So you're taking F. So what that is an F major. And then sort of like we were doing at the beginning of the song, you're rolling it up. So you're going F, A, C, an F major chord. Then you're going F, B flat, D, and then F, C, E flat. So, and back down. Yeah, and then you're going to do the same thing, but we're going to keep moving it up by minor thirds. So it's sort of tracing this diminished chord with the bass line. So you're going. Next one is A flat, an A flat major chord, A flat, C, E. And to roll it up, so you're going A flat, C, E flat, A flat, D flat, F, and then A flat, E flat, G flat. And then we're going up again to B major. And this one rolls up B, D sharp, F sharp, and then B, E, G sharp. So, sorry. B, D sharp, F sharp, B, E, G sharp, B, F sharp, A, and back down. And there's one more going up to D major. So it's D, F sharp, A, D, G, B, D, A, C, and down. And it brings you into the chorus, which is just a great chorus, one of those all-time fantastic type chord progressions. It's like a 1, minor, 3, 4, 5, so very like triumphant sounding. So we're doing G major, B minor, C major, D major. You know, you think that you're powerful, but we've got the love and the rhythm. You say, looks like rain today, and we say, oh, what a day to be living. So you do that through the chorus. And then, what do we got next? All right, and that leads us, after 2 times through the chorus, you come down to the jam, and the jam has 2 parts to it. And the first part is over that same chord progression, so it gets really chill down to the bass, like it's mostly going between the G and C and passing over the B. And you can use that same E minor sort of soloing technique over this because it's G major. And you'll see when we do the playthrough, they're fairly ambiguous about the third. So sometimes the soloist will take it sort of minor sounding and use that G minor blues scale, which is G, B flat, C, C sharp, D, F, G. In which case you want to sort of start leaving the B out of your left hand so you can be ambiguous about it. And being ambiguous about major or minor is a really fun way to make a jam more interesting, and as a soloist. So if you're using one of these 1 to 4 progressions, they're super common. And you can use the minor scale to build tension and then resolve it to the major. And you can also use the mixolydian on the G, which is using the flat 7 on an otherwise major scale. So it's you're using, it's just G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's totally in bounds here. So the piano solo is all over that G to C section, and then you're comping under the guitar solo. And you just follow along, so when it starts going major or minor, you use that minor scale, and building tension, which is, using chromatics and coming up by half steps and just making it messier. And when it's kind of resolved, you come back to that just big triumphant G major. And then I'm not really good at reading the way that Goose does their cueing. They're really good at cueing these changes in these big jam sections. They're open-ended and they're clearly not counted out, but they're cued somehow, so the whole band will just pivot into the next section. It's very impressive, and I'm not sure exactly how they do it. But anyways, so you're in this G to C jam section, and then under the guitar solo, it moves over to the second part of the jam section, which is E flat major. And you can use a major 7th here, so it'd be an E, G, B flat, D scale or chord, down to D minor and D minor 7, so D, F, A, C. And then the second part of this riff is going to C minor, down to F, and then it goes back to the E flat again. There's no single scale that I've found that really works successfully over all of these chord changes. Like, you can use like an E flat major. Or an E flat, like an E flat type scale, but sometimes it's best just to be tracing out the shapes of the chords and spreading them out. So what I was using for that E flat major scale was with an A natural instead of an A flat, so that would work. That would work great. And then when you get to the end of this section, which again I think it's an ambiguous length, just sort of cued by feel almost. Then you land on back to that F riff to lead back into the final chorus. So it's just like before. B up to D. You know, you think that you're powerful, but we've got the love and the rhythm. So it's that G, B minor, C, D, G, B minor, C, D. And when we get to the end, you go E flat, and then F, 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 and then a big G chord at the ninth. So it's a G chord with an A in it. And that's it. Those are all the sections of the song. I'm going to play through the version from the 2020 Goose, the Radio City, or not Radio City, I'm sorry, the Rockefeller Center show, which is a super cool one on YouTube. You should look it up and play along with that. I think it's the debut of the song, and it's a nice version. We'll talk through all this stuff sort of in context as we go through that, and so let's do it. I'll see you over there. All right, so now we're going to play through it. So this is that G pattern. So the bass line's going G, E, F, E, G, E, F, E, and you can solo using that G minor stuff, or that G major stuff, or that E minor scale. Comp around under the guitar. You kind of have to stick to the pattern to keep the feel right, so there's not a lot of room to change these chords around much or anything. Sometimes it's just about being a good supporting player. Serve the song, be where you need to be.
We were living in the hills and trees, spilling on an easy breeze. The sky would open up, we stop to fill our cups with.
And that's C right there.
Harmony.
You're still just hitting that same G pattern. It's the whole beginning of the song.
Left the road and the map behind, so we're talking about a different line when we were free.
Throw in some stuff like Peter does right there.
Felt so far away.
This is B flat, C, B, C, B flat. Anyways, go back for what that is. Now we're in G minor, C minor.
Started dancing in the streets. The Empress stomped her feet and she said,
And this is C up to D. Now it's the pattern with the D major, so G, C, G, D major. D major.
I'm the Empress of Organos. I'll tell you where your bad thoughts go.
This is E flat major. You roll it up, and then it's D, and then G chromatically down, back to G. Same pattern as before, G minor, C minor, and D major.
Golden key. This is darkness playing tricks for me.
That's E flat major again, down to D again.
To the shadows of Los Organos.
Oh wait, that's different. All right. Yeah, I'll have to get that later. So you're getting more chaotic as you're playing in it here. Comes that riff that starts on F. Up to A flat. B. And then D. G, B, C, D, G, B minor, C. That's under the whole chorus. I wish I was set up to do the organ part, because that would be fun to talk through too. Maybe in a future lesson. Alright, now it's sort of bass led, and then the piano solo is going to come in again over that G major stuff. And this is where you can start to be ambiguous about the third. And you can float around on those E minor pentatonic notes, which would be like E, G, A, B, and D. Soloing and improvising, you kind of have to learn by doing, because everyone has their own voice, and you'll find what works for you, what doesn't, what fits your ear, what your vocabulary is. So just spend time with parts like this in YouTube videos, play them, and just play along with them, because you can learn so much that way. G Mixolydian right now with the flat 7. And going between the G major and the C major. And this is actually a good opportunity to talk about like one note soloing. Sometimes you just want to hit one note and use the rhythm of it to say something. And that's kind of the idea I think Peter's using right there. And now you hear the minor third? So now it's moving to that G blues scale. So you're integrating that B flat. And now we're kind of back to a major sound. And we just gotta follow along with Peter for this one. Oh, there's the minor again. And sort of every time it lands back into the groove, you want to come back to that G major, because that's really like the groove of this section. All just ripping off G major scale. And if you span between the fifth on the D, and you can hit the G and the A and the B underneath, it's just this really nice sound. That's to get those rolling sort of Van Halen jump style riffs. It's ambiguous about the minor major here. And now you're snapping to be under the guitar. So now we're gonna listen to the guitar. It's in that major mode right now, and you'll hear it eventually shift to the minor third again. And Rick's soloing style tends to go chaotic, and it's the band's job to go chaotic under it and then snap back sort of triumphantly to the main groove. And you'll hear it. We'll get there. Actually sitting on a D minor, so you can pick it up by ear and just sit in a D minor. And Goose does this a lot, and they're parking on that D minor, and you'll hear it turn around. And you just use this to build tension. You know, he's ascending things and just float up the chord. Turns around, right back to the G major. And here comes the chaos again. Actually moving back to that D minor again. So you move chromatically to build the tension. These off scale notes, that makes it a little more dissonant. Building it up. Here we go. If you got an organ, you can use it right here, just like on the track. Playing Hammonds is so much fun. minor, C. A little more chaos. And now we're going to move to that E minor, I think. Yep, there it is. Down to D minor. Back up to that E flat. D minor. C minor. F major. And we're going to be here for a little while. You can just invert these chords up and down. And just trace the shape of them. C minor. F major. You can use that E flat major scale. An A natural in it. F, and now we're on E flat. Do the D minor. Back up to E flat. C minor. F major. Around again. D minor. Back up to E flat. C minor. Then now when you go to the F, you go back to that riff. A flat. Up to B. And then D to the turnaround to G. And now we're back on the chorus. Which is basically the same thing as the whole first part of the jam, so you should be pretty comfortable with this by now. C, D major, G, B minor, C major, D. E flat, F, 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 G. With that 9, so add the A. So I hope that is useful and helpful to you, and I'll see you all out there. I know I may have, I don't think I have that 100% right, but it's pretty close. So if you're trying to learn the song, whether on piano or guitar, I hope it's helpful. Learning instruments is crazy hard, so I hope you keep at it. And if you like this video, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to try to make more of these. And check out my band, too. We're called Andrew North and the Rangers. We're based in New Hampshire. I'll put the link down in the description. So I'll see you all out there. Thank you.